She's doing it because she needs him. Coronation Street star Claire Sweeney has addressed her character Cassie Plummer's ongoing manipulation of Ken Barlow. The two characters are currently taking center stage in a slow-burn storyline, as Cassie continues her efforts to make Ken reliant on her. Cassie started spiking Ken's drinks with antihistamines last year in order to keep her job as his unofficial carer. Her twisted plan has made Ken drowsy around the house, and he recently asked Cassie to move in permanently so that she could keep a close eye on him. Speaking to Digital Spy and other press at the TV Choice Awards 2025, Claire insisted that her character is complicated and her dangerous actions shouldn't be seen as purely evil. Praising the tense storyline, Claire told us, "It's fabulous, isn't it? I love the way they're writing for the character. They're writing great stuff. There's humor, it's brilliant, and I feel honored to be working with Bill Roach as well." She continued, "It's the way they're writing it. She's not being totally evil. She's doing it because she needs him. She wants him to care for her. So she's not being evil. It's nice they're writing humor for her. I've got the stuff with Bill Roach, great stuff with Tracy Barlow as well. I feel very lucky. I've watched the show since I was a kid, so to be part of it, I feel very honored." Coronation Street's producer Kate Brooks previously named the Cassie and Ken story as one to watch this year. Speaking to Digital Spy and other media at a recent press event, Brooks commented, "The friendship is genuine and real, but Cassie has had a bad life. She's had a terrible upbringing. She's made mistakes in the past, and it's sometimes hard to shake off that persona. That's what we'll see with Cassie. She'll be struggling with the good angel and the bad angel on her shoulder, and which way is she going to go? She does stir up a lot of trouble and a lot of bother not just with the Barlows, but within No 9 Tyrone and Fiz's house as well. So Cassie and Ken, keep your eyes on them because it's going to get good." The TV Choice Awards 2025 took place at the Hilton Park Lane on Monday evening, February 10. The ceremony saw former Coronation Street star Peter Ashe take home the Best Soap Performance prize for his character Paul Foreman's exit storyline. Coronation Street Claire Sweeney opens up on Cassie Plummer's manipulation of Ken Barlow. This article contains spoilers for ongoing and upcoming Coronation Street storylines. The residents of Weatherfield are no strangers to drama, but a slow-burning storyline currently unfolding on Coronation Street has viewers hooked, and perhaps a little uneasy. At the heart of this tale are Cassie Plummer, played by Claire Sweeney, and the legendary Ken Barlow, portrayed by the inimitable Bill Roach. What began as a seemingly innocuous arrangement has morphed into something far more sinister, as Cassie's calculated efforts to secure her place in Ken's life take a dangerous turn. Recently, Claire Sweeney spoke candidly about her character's motivations at the TV Choice Awards 2025, shedding light on the complexity behind Cassie's actions and insisting that there's more to this twisted plot than meets the eye. A slow-burn scheme unfolds. For months, Cassie Plummer has been quietly tightening her grip on Ken Barlow, one of Coronation Street's longest-standing and most cherished figures. The storyline kicked off last year when Cassie, a woman with a checkered past and a knack for survival, took on the role of Ken's unofficial carer. At first, it seemed like a lifeline for both of them. Ken, now in his twilight years, needed support around the house, while Cassie, ever the opportunist, found a steady gig. But beneath the surface, something darker was brewing. Cassie's plan, as viewers have come to discover, is as audacious as it is unsettling. She's been secretly spiking Ken's drinks with antihistamines, a move straight out of a psychological thriller. The effects have been subtle but profound. Ken, once sharp-witted and fiercely independent, has grown increasingly drowsy and disoriented. His days are now punctuated by unexplained fatigue, moments where his mind clouds over and his body betrays him. To the untrained eye, it might look like the toll of age catching up with him, but Cassie knows better. She's engineered this vulnerability, and she's playing it to her advantage. The culmination of her scheme came recently when Ken, muddled and reliant, asked Cassie to move into No 1 Coronation Street permanently. For Ken, it was a practical decision, someone to keep a close eye on him as he navigates this foggy new reality. For Cassie, it was a triumph, a foothold in a life she's determined to claim as her own. But what drives her to such lengths? Is it malice, desperation, or something more human? Claire Sweeney's recent comments offer a window into Cassie's fractured psyche, revealing a character who defies easy categorization. She's not totally evil. The TV Choice Awards 2025, held on Monday, February 10 at the glitzy Hilton Park Lane, provided the perfect backdrop for Claire Sweeney to reflect on her role. Dressed to impress among a sea of soap stars and industry luminaries, she spoke to Digital Spy and other press with a warmth and enthusiasm that belied the chilling nature of her character's actions. Far from shying away from the controversy, Claire embraced it, praising the writers for crafting a storyline that's as compelling as it is divisive. "It's fabulous, isn't it?" she said, her eyes lighting up as she leaned into the conversation. "I love the way they're writing for the character. They're writing great stuff. There's humor. It's brilliant, and I feel honored to be working with Bill Roach as well." Her admiration for her co-star was palpable. Bill Roach, who's played Ken Barlow since the show's inception in 1960, is a living legend, and Claire knows she's sharing the screen with history. But it's the nuance of Cassie's portrayal that Claire seems most eager to defend. "It's the way they're writing it," she explained. "She's not being totally evil. She's doing it because she needs him. She wants him to care for her. So she's not being evil." It's a striking statement, one that invites us to look beyond the surface of Cassie's manipulations and consider the deeper currents running through her actions. To Claire, Cassie isn't a villain twirling her mustache. She's a woman shaped by hardship, clinging to a lifeline she's fashioned through questionable means. "There's humor in it too," Claire added, her voice tinged with pride. "I've got the stuff with Bill Roach, great stuff with Tracy Barlow as well. I feel very lucky. I've watched the show since I was a kid, so to be part of it, I feel very honored." For Claire, this role is more than a job. It's a dream realized, a chance to leave her mark on a show that's been a cornerstone of British television for over 6 decades. The layers of Cassie Plummer. To understand Cassie's motivations, we have to peel back the layers of her life, a life that's been anything but easy. As Coronation Street producer Kate Brooks revealed at a recent press event, Cassie's backstory is one of struggle and survival. She's had a terrible upbringing, Brooks told Digital Spy and other media. She's made mistakes in the past, and it's sometimes hard to shake off that persona. This isn't a woman who stumbled into DC by accident. It's a pattern forged in the fires of adversity, a coping mechanism that's kept her afloat when the world turned its back. Cassie's bad life, as Brooks put it, has left scars, some visible, some buried deep. She's a drifter, a chameleon who's learned to adapt to whatever circumstances throw her way. When she arrived in Weatherfield, she brought with her a mix of charm and chaos, quickly ingratiating herself with the locals while stirring up trouble wherever she went. Her bond with Ken, though, is different. It's genuine, Brooks insists. The friendship is real. But it's tangled up in Cassie's neediness, her fear of losing the stability she's found in his orbit. Picture Cassie in Ken's sitting room, pouring his tea with a practiced smile, her hands steady even as her mind races. She slips the antihistamine into his cup, her heart pounding, not with glee, but with a quiet desperation. She watches him sip it, his eyes growing heavy, and feels a pang of guilt she quickly buries. This isn't about hurting him, she tells herself. It's about survival. If Ken doesn't need her, where does she go? Back to the streets, the uncertainty, the cold. For Cassie, this is a twisted act of self-preservation, a way to anchor herself to someone who represents warmth, security, and a chance at redemption. Ken Barlow, the unwitting pawn. On the other side of this dynamic is Ken Barlow, a man whose life has been a roller coaster of triumphs and tragedies. At 95, in real life, Bill Roach celebrated his 92nd birthday in 2024. Ken is a survivor, a pillar of the community who's weathered everything from failed marriages to family feuds. But age has softened his edges, and the sharpness that once defined him is starting to dull. He trusts Cassie, sees her as a companion in his quieter years, someone to share a cuppa with, to reminisce about the old days. He doesn't suspect the fog in his mind is anything more than time catching up with him. There's a heartbreaking irony in Ken's situation. This is a man who spent his life seeking truth through his journalism, his intellectual pursuits, his moral crusades, and yet he's blind to the deception unfolding under his own roof. As Cassie moves in, unpacking her sparse belongings into the spare room, Ken feels a flicker of gratitude. She's rough around the edges, sure, but she's there when he needs her. He doesn't see the strings she's pulling, the way she's reshaping his world to fit her needs.